I think we're already recording.
Okay, welcome everyone. We're gonna start our meeting this evening. And with that, I'm gonna call the meeting to order. And I would like to ask all of the leadership team members who are here to give us just a brief summary, who they are, and a brief summary of what areas they cover. Let's start with Robert.
Bob Williams, representing District 2. And also, if John Davey can't attend the entire meeting, I'll be also representing APAC. So,
Very good.
I'm Lauren Dorado. I'm the co-chair of the El Dorado County Youth Commission and the ASB president at Oak Ridge High School.
I'm John Heidel, District 1 Supervisor.
I'm Cindy Munt, Supervisor, Hideout's Assistant, and I do the community information and outreach for the council.
I'm Richard Ross. I speak on good governance. This has to do with the effective and efficient operation of the county government within its organized system.
Right. Hello, I'm Michael Anthal. I chair the Public Safety Committee.
Deputy Scott Bear from the County OES.
I'm Kathleen Guerrero, and I am the director for First Five El Dorado and El Dorado County's Commission for Youth and Families, and I'm here for Healthy Communities.
No, he's
logged in, but yeah. I do know he has an appointment in about an hour or so.
So
There he is.
he's a panelist.
Yeah, there he is.
Okay. John Davey, can you go ahead and, yeah.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. John Davey, I'm the chair of the El Dorado Hills Area Planning Advisory Committee. We're a group of resident volunteers who analyze and review proposed development projects in El Dorado Hills.
Very good. Thank you, John. And Wendy Mae Davis, we'll get to the, so anyone else that's on the leadership committee that I may have somehow missed? I don't think so. So with that, we're going to ask all of the volunteers who serve on either a committee or commission for District 1 to likewise recognize themselves. And I'm going to start with the Zoom and then we'll go around the room. So Wendy Mae. Maybe that's not going to work. There she is. Your microphone is not working,
You
Wendy
just
Mae.
unmute Wendy Mae.
I'm sorry, guys. I've been trying to unmute. I apologize for that. Your County Tax Assessor Appeals Board Director. Grateful to be here. Thank you so much to my fellow commissioners and for you, Mr. Heidel. Appreciate you all.
Thank you, Wendy Mae. John Razzler, you have your hand up. John, do you want to introduce yourself since you serve as an ombudsman in the county?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good. Go ahead, John.
All right. John Rassler, El Dorado County Ombudsman for seniors in assisted living and in memory care. And I am also the vice chair of the Area Planning Advisory Committee. Thank you.
Thank you, John. So in the audience, Raylene, would you like to introduce yourself, please? I don't,
There's
did
a
you get a
microphone
microphone? We need
out
to, yeah. We may have to repeat it with the microphone so people can hear who on the Zoom, yeah.
Hi, can you hear it?
Okay.
Hello? Anyway, I'm Raylene Nunn.
Try a different one.
Hi,
Excited.
Raylene Nunn. I'm District 1 Supervisor Heidel's Commissioner to Commission on Aging, and I'm the senior, for the California Senior Legislature, I'm a senior senator for El Dorado County.
So you're there too?
Tita Bladen, El Dorado County Commission on Aging, also on the California Senior Legislature. I'm your senior assembly member.
Else, I can't see. I think that covers it. So thank you all for your volunteer efforts with our committees and commissions. They're very important to the functioning of El Dorado County, so we really appreciate all that. So with that, I'm going to move on to item 2, adoption of the regular meeting agenda. Does anyone on the leadership team have any comments on the agenda? I'm not seeing hands raised, and I'm not seeing any here, so the agenda will be accepted as proposed. We'll move on to item 3, public comment. And we would ask that you get one of the microphones, please, if you're going to make a public comment so we can hear what your comment is. This is the opportunity we give everyone in the community to voice a concern, a question, whatever, for items that are not on tonight's agenda. So if there's something on the agenda we're going to talk about, whether it's a guest speaker or whether it's one of the other forms of reports that we're going to give, we'd ask you to wait until that time frame. But if you have something that's not on the agenda, now would be the appropriate time to locate a microphone and share the information with us. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and go to our guest speakers. We're moving through this pretty quickly. And Sheriff Leikauf sent his regrets. As you know, our sheriff is very, very busy. And originally, when I'd asked him to come and speak with us this evening, he said yes, but then things happen. And so tonight we have Deputy Bear with us, and he's going to share with us items related to the Sheriff's Office awareness, increased surveillance, and preparedness to respond to recent local anti-Semitism threats. And then I have a few comments to make after that. So, Deputy.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me here. I was asked to come talk to this group because I work in the Office of Emergency Services, and that is the main terrorism liaison officer for the county. So the first part I want to talk about is situational awareness and communication. We can't do this on our own when it comes to terrorism. So we have a process in place called the Terrorism Liaison Officers, the TLO. Pretty much that's a network of local governments and state governments that work together to provide information to a fusion center that disseminates information to local and state agencies to respond to things appropriately. The Sheriff's Office has several TLOs. The PDs have multiple TLOs. Fire departments do. EMS does. Schools, hospitals, public health, even some big chain stores have TLOs, and they will make reports to the Fusion Center through suspicious activity reports, also known as SARS. And pretty much what it does is people send information to the Fusion Center, and they disseminate the information and see if there's like a threat that's credible or not. And they kick information down to the local level or state level so we can respond to it appropriately. You don't have to be a terrorism liaison to make a SAR report. Anyone from the public can make one. You would just have to go online to www.sacartac.org. That's SACRTAC.org. And they have a section there where you can put in a SAR if you see something suspicious. It's not like the Department of Homeland Security is going to come with a helicopter and zip line down to your neighbor's house if you make a suspicious activity report to them. But it's just a network of information, and they can weed through it to see what's credible or not. There's also a terrorism liaison, a sergeant that we have at the Sheriff's Office that's a liaison for faith-based organizations. Just this last couple of weeks, reached out to churches and facilities we thought could be victim to criminal threats and stuff like that with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. We provided them information. We explained to them about the SAR process too. If they see some suspicious activity, to not only call us, but also make a report too, just so that the larger Fusion Center information is known to them. We reached out to multiple places. We don't feel like anyone's a threat right now for our community. We haven't gotten too many, pretty much any threats when it comes to anti-Semitic stuff, except for there was an incident in Placerville a few weeks ago where there was some flyers that were sent out. So far, though, we haven't had any credible information coming back that was actually going to be something bigger. Hold on one second. Read my notes. We get these information multiple times a day. Some of it's based on worldwide what's happening. Some of it's based on local. We will go through and disseminate what's important or not, or if they think there's a credible thing happening in our area. But so far today, we haven't had anything credible except for that one thing in Placerville, which hasn't been led to anything else. Other stuff we do is I want to assure people that if there are organizations coming up here that are spreading hateful speech, we'll do the best we can, depending on the First Amendment rights of that person. But if people come up here and they are committing crimes, we will investigate it, and they will be arrested if they're committing crimes in our county. And want to make sure that everyone knows that they're safe and that if you do see something, see something, say something when it comes to stuff. If you see something that's suspicious, give us a call, and also go to that website and report that suspicious activity. Do I have any questions from people who are here? Yes.
Oh, here.
Need to get your microphone, yeah. Green?
Yep, it's green.
Great, got it. Very good.
My name is Pat Kriz. I'm a longtime resident in El Dorado Hills. And I have two questions for you. One is, do you take reports of graffiti? And if so, what do you do with reports of graffiti? And is it swastikas or what kind of graffiti are you getting reports on?
We'll take reports on any graffiti. Graffiti is a crime. So we will go out and document any reports of graffiti. And if they are reports of, swastikas and stuff like that, we will send a suspicious activity report up to the Fusion Center to see if there's something bigger going on. Sometimes at a local level, we can't connect all the dots, but if you have multiple incidents of something happening, connecting one person to those incidents, it gives you a better idea of what could possibly happen, what they're capable of. So if you see any graffiti, you can give us a call. We'll come out and we'll investigate that. Like I said, it's a crime and we will investigate it.
You don't clean it up.
No, the sheriff's office won't clean it up.
And my second question is, did you ever refer anything to the Human Rights Commission when we had a Human Rights Commission in El Dorado County? And did you work with them in any way, or would you be willing to?
I did not. When I was, since I've been here, I've not worked with them, but I'm sure that we will work with them. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't.
They got disbanded by the Board of Supervisors, so that's another subject. But
For the sheriff's office, we work with multiple community, organizations of the community. Anything we do to better the community safety, we'll work with them.
What else?
We also provide extra patrol. So if you see areas that are getting graffiti or any crime like that, you can call into our sheriff's office and make a call on it. And we'll send deputies out there to do extra patrol in the area to make sure that there's bad characters not doing bad things.
I'd really prefer not to give my name, but I could if I have to. I'm concerned because I came to your office, the sheriff's office, and I gave a report of an anti-Semitic incident against me, and I am concerned that you're not aware of it. As I sat with it, first of all, I waited 90 minutes in your waiting area. Then I met with a deputy and I made the report.
Right. Well, me personally, I'm not aware of it. However, I can, if you want to give me information, I can look into it and see what's going on with it. But you can meet up with me afterwards, when everything's.
Has there been an uptake in other complaints? Are you aware of other complaints that have occurred over the last month?
No, I'm not seeing for our level of stuff that's happening. However, we are sending stuff that is up to the suspicious activity report to the Fusion Center to see if it's something.
Are you aware of increased surveillance? Because the sheriff shared with me that they have stepped up, and particularly in South Lake Tahoe, where there's a known Jewish community, and they have facilities and stuff that they've done additional patrols just to go by to make sure that things are
We've identified
stabilized.
We've identified areas where we're doing extra patrol at. I know there's Tahoe. We went through multiple religious-based places in this area to offer active violence training also, which is something that we provide to government agencies, churches, organizations that want extra training on how to survive an active shooter event. We'll come out and do that training. We provided that to the religious centers in the area, but we are doing extra patrol in those areas.
And I know in my church in Folsom that we attend, which is St. John's, we actually have a security team that is there for every mass, and they've been trained in how to spot unusual behavior, characteristics and stuff. I'm part of the security team, so we wear microphones, basic walkie-talkie systems so we can communicate. And I'm pleased to say the only thing we've responded to is medical emergencies where people fainted or something during the church services, and we brought in the emergency team, which really helps things react quicker. But are you aware of an organized effort to try to make sure that the churches are looking at those kinds of things? Because the number one way to make sure your facility is safe and secure is to take it upon yourself to have eyes and ears watching, right? When you see something, then you report it, that type of thing.
For an organized from other churches, no, not really. But individually, reach out to us and we'll provide the active shooter training. most churches are very well prepared. A lot of churches, they have active, retired, law enforcement, first responders, and they all work together and have a plan. From the experience of the active shooter training that I've been through.
Because that's obviously a hot spot. Movie theaters, there's a lot of things that you can say are targets typically based upon previous active shooter situations, but the graffiti, the marking up, destruction of public property, those kinds of things we see in a lot of different circumstances, even on schools, unfortunately, and that's another one that's tough to handle, but it's getting off subject to kind of talk about that. So.
Any crimes, they should report to our office, and we'll have people go out there and investigate it. If it seems like something that's small, it could be something that's bigger that you just don't know. If it's just a swastika on a wall, it might be connected to something or a group of people that could actually do something. So call us, let us know about it, just so we can make the necessary reports and investigate it.
What's the best number to call, I guess, so we gotta make it clear, because we've had a couple different numbers given to us for different circumstances, but.
The best number to contact if it's not an emergency for our dispatch would be our non-emergency line at 530-621-6600. You can also go on our website, and there's multiple non-emergency lines, and then also emergency lines. If it's an emergency, call 911 or call emergency line. Don't call the non-emergency line. But if you just see something like that, you're not in danger, call a non-emergency line, and we'll send deputy out there.
Good. Yes. Let's make sure we get a microphone, please. Yeah.
If there is a viable threat to this county, what methods do you use to broadcast it to all the residents?
It would depend on the circumstance. I can't give you one size fits all, but I will say that we will handle appropriately, and we'll bring in the agencies we need to effectively do it. If we do it ourselves, do it ourselves. If not, we'll bring in FBI, whatever organization is that we need for that situation.
Okay, I'm looking at a viable threat so that we can take precautions, either lock ourselves in our houses and not go out. I would like to hear that before it's on the 6 o'clock news or something. So I'm looking for just a way
So there's multiple ways that we could do it. If we feel there's a danger large, we also have our Elder County Emergency Alert System, where we could send out alerts that way to have people shelter in their house and to let them know that there's a law enforcement event happening. It's kind of similar to like the lost child alerts you get on your phone, except it would be coming from our office of Elder County Emergency Alerts, and it can give you instructions.
So it will go on the phones.
If you're signed up for our Elder County Emergency Alerts system, there.
Okay, thank you.
So to sign up for that, you can go to www.ready.edso.org. I'm sorry, I talk really fast. It's www.ready.edso.org.
And we'll pass that to Supervisor Heidel.
Right. We'll put it out in the minutes, but it's ready.eso.org.
That's true for not just an active criminal event where we feel the public's in danger, but it's also for forest fires, hazmat spills. If there was a truck that tipped over that had hazardous materials in it, we would send out the alert for that. So we use it for multiple things. We won't use it for like, hey, there's a parade this Tuesday. If you get an alert through that system, it's an emergency, and we want you to know about it.
Meeting in Cameron Park, and I was told you have a new alert app.
We don't have a new alert system coming out. We have another system that works with that called Perimeter. It's still in the process right now. It's not out yet. Hopefully by this next year, we'll have that additional system to go along with it. They work together.
I just received the application to join search and rescue with the Sheriff Department. So is that all correlated to this emergency alert system?
Yeah, so if you're part of the search and rescue team, it's an internal version of that, that we give updates for emergencies within our community, yes. It's the same system, but internal versus public.
So what I'm hearing is that the only way we would get alerted is if our cell phones were activated and on.
Correct, yes.
I don't know which side to talk. So what if our cell phones were not operable?
So if they're not operable, you wouldn't be able to get it through that cell phone base, but it would still go out to your email and also go out to landlines. But it'd go out to those three mechanisms.
Yes, that's what I was told, to get a landline, a home phone. And that would be a better option than a cell phone for
So
emergency.
it could, however, landlines, when it comes down to like phone companies, is kind of dying technology. So a lot of places in our community, they've decided not to have true landlines. They have web-based landlines. So pretty much it goes off internet, but it'd be a landline through internet. It's not like the old copper wire that goes to your house. But if your power is out, you may not get those emergency alerts because you have no power and no internet.
Our power was out, we wouldn't be able to pull up our internet.
You'd have to rely on your phone or your cell service. Or generator, yeah. But depending on the.
I just have one last question. Are we a sanctuary city like Folsom? Are you independent? Or are you
No,
still?
we are not a sanctuary, city, county, or any of that stuff.
Other questions for Deputy Bear? Yes, go back up here.
And sorry I speak so quick. I'll work on that. I personally did not, but it goes to the, like I said, the special activity report to the regional center, which has more resources. For stuff like that, we can't just go at it ourselves. We work of like a web and network of local, state, federal agencies that work together to investigate it. And then we'll send information to them. They'll weed through it. If it's credible, they will take information back down to us as information or intelligence. We get these alerts all the time. It's just a lot of it's law enforcement confidential. So you may not get those alerts, but we know about it internally.
Right, so does the community that people on that if they weren't registered? So as a citizen, I was just wondering what's the fallout from that? What happens when the plan deal with that threat? The department is still out for living among us, and we're still planning to do something. So is there any mechanism you have in place for the public to find resolution to happening races and incitement happening in the county, so we can better protect ourselves and rely on your
I don't know, to be honest on that. There's a lot of parts in that question. I would say that it is being investigated by some agents. It's not me personally investigating it, so I don't know where we are with that. To be honest, I don't know if we're investigating that because I'm part of our investigations unit. I'm in our Office of Emergency Services unit, but I haven't seen any information come down from the Fusion Center saying anything about it.
Is there a way that we could find the status of that?
It would have to be a process like that where it would be released by one of our PIOs. I don't know where that process is through the investigation. It might go up to the Fusion Center. They may not think it's credible. We may not get an answer.
Not even
We don't always get messages back if it was credible or not, unless it's something that is. They'll come back to us and be like, hey, there's something happening in your local level that you need to work and investigate this, or it's being followed up by FBI and we'll work in connection with them. I don't know where it is in the process. Sometimes it could take a day, weeks, longer. I don't have a time frame for it.
Fair to ask you to check with your cohorts to see if there's.
I can look into.
Because we can put that in the minutes if there's something we can publish.
I can look into the Fusion Center to see if they have anything on it. I mean, I can email back on it, but I can send a message back to see if there's, where the process is.
I'd like to say something more clearly about it, because I listened to the 20 minutes of that anti-Semitic hate speech, and I did hear the gentleman say he would come back with physical violence specifically. And I feel that as a taxpayer, it's not acceptable to not get a specific response on this. And coming to this meeting, I came to hear about that and other things. And I've heard what you've had to say. I've heard a lot of generalities, and I've heard about how you hand it off to other agencies. But it needs to come back to us, the people who are concerned about our safety. And so I'm asking you, please, to get back to us. I attend those meetings at the supervisor's chambers, and I want to know about my safety.
Right, well, I don't have an answer on that, but that's something that we work with the Board of Supervisors. If we have any resolution to it, we can talk to them about it and we can go from there on that, of how it's gonna be disseminated.
Speak on behalf of the sheriff's department. They do a very good job. I call them.
Is the staffing. One time I called probably about 3 weeks ago, and there was a person that was unsafe for our community, and it took about 20 minutes for someone to get out. First, it was the highway patrolman, and then it was the sheriff. And by that time, this gentleman who was an unsafe person in our community, I believe he had disappeared. So I guess the question is the sheriff department hiring more bodies to cover? I believe you have 2 people per shift. Am I correct in saying that?
So we have multiple people per shift. It actually
Okay.
depends. But usually it depends if it's, daytime, nighttime. During daytime, we have an influx of other people that aren't necessarily patrol. We have investigators and school
Right,
resource
right.
officers and other people that do stuff. But we definitely have more than 2. Usually just for patrol side, we don't really have minimums on it, but usually it floats around 8 to 12
Okay.
per shift, not counting the other side assignments like hot team and school resource officers and detectives and other assignments.
So I guess maybe to ease your concern is maybe you would want to know the response time, right? If something does happen. And there's also conceal and carry. I don't know.
Any other questions for Deputy Bear? All right, again, thank you for your participation this evening. And yeah, if you could get back to us and let us know if there is more information we can share with the public through your PIO or whomever has that information. Because I know there's a lot of concern about what happens after an event like happened. I think it was September 12th Board of Supervisors meeting. What is the follow-up? And I know from the board's perspective, there were notes taken in terms of the Zoom identification of people. There was a minimum amount of looking on the internet to determine who those people might be. To my knowledge, the people who were identified or identifiable were all outside the county. There was not a single person that was identified within El Dorado County, to my knowledge. So I think that says a lot. What we found by looking at other agencies is this is a process that's been going on through a lot of Board of Supervisors meetings, city council meetings, anywhere there's a public meeting, school board meetings. It seems that occasionally those organizations get targeted by a group of people who want to basically spew their information relative to hate speech. In this case, it was anti-Semitism, hate speech. So that's part of the backdrop, but I personally just want to say that I despise, deplore, do not agree with any form of hate speech at all. I was on the Human Rights Commission for 2 years trying to work with that commission to find a way to inform and educate the public on terms of what is appropriate behavior and knowing that we all have to live together and work together. That's what makes sense to me. There should not be those elements, but there always are going to be at some level. But the more education we can do, the more informing of people, the more we can say, no, that's inappropriate, is right. But by the same token, I also have to recognize we are a First Amendment free speech country. So people have the right to say what they want to say, short of certain things like specific threats. If you get real specific, then I think you cross over that into a possible criminal type of situation. But I don't know where those lines are. But clearly the speech that came out was inappropriate. I personally made a mistake in choice of words because after talking about the First Amendment, I said it's fine. And what I meant by that is we have to listen to what they have to say to some degree. That's our obligation. But I deplore it. I think all forms of hate speech are inappropriate. So I want to put that on the record. Yes.
I'd like to say, as a Jew, that I would expect that the supervisors would shut that down, whether it's racist speech or hate speech against a particular religion or national origin, all of those things. And if somebody opens their mouth and it veers in that direction, the supervisors should have shut it down and anybody who spoke next, shut it down and state, we will not accept that kind of language. Free speech is one thing, but when they're denigrating the things that this country stands for, and that's freedom of religion and freedom of the ability to feel safe, should have been shut down. It happened to Darrell Steinberg at a Sacramento city, and he shut it down. You need to be strong and speak up, not just let these fools or dangerous people rattle on and on. We don't want to be Germany 1938 and 1939 again.
I appreciate your comments. We did consult with county counsel. He showed us several recitals, state law, federal law, that basically says you cannot stop hate speech until it becomes a threat of crime. That was the reading the county council gave us. So there is a difference of opinion by certain people. I'm not sure what happened with the mayor. But anyway, so that's the advice we have. I will advise you that the board had a lot of discussion in closed session about how to respond to something like this in the future, because it came to us as a complete surprise. And you will see a totally different response than what was present when we got surprised at September 12th meeting. So that will be different, but it's orchestrated in terms of how we respond. So, yeah, Pat.
Chris, can I ask you another question?
Sure.
I would like to know if you would be able to shut down vulgar and offensive speech that has no direct meaning in terms of discussing the issue at hand, but is in other words, just swearing and vile and vulgar language because someone is spewing or venting their feelings. That is not free speech.
Right. We do have the ability to shut that down. If it's off the agenda from the standpoint of somebody's just spewing stuff out, open forum is as it's described, an open forum. But if it's not specific to something that El Dorado County has authority, jurisdiction, some influence over, we can shut it down. So we've all been coached a little bit about where those boundaries are, but until we have the next experience, and I suspect we will someday, it's hard to tell exactly what happens. But the chair is a lead in doing those things, but it takes the full support of the board to decide, yes, this is the right thing to do. But if it's off topic, so to speak, from what our jurisdiction is, we can absolutely shut it off. Shut the mic down. We've got those provisions.
I just want to kind of summarize what I think I've heard here today, just to make sure it's straight in my head. First of all, there has been a Board of Supervisors meeting where folks' personal safety was threatened. Those who watched it, those who were part of it, those who are part of the community, and those of us who may not be of the Jewish faith and culture to be there. So what I've heard from this is three things. One is that we've asked through this body to ask the Sheriff's Department about, has there been any resolution or follow-up? That was the first thing that I heard. The second thing that I heard was, if there's an event where we're unsafe, how will the community know? And the community will know because they've signed up with EDSO ready in order to be in a community alert, so that if there is a threat to our community, that we can all be alerted. I think the third thing that I heard was that if in fact there is graffiti and hateful graffiti, et cetera, to file a report with the Sheriff's Department, either by phone or by the local office, and let them know that that's there to be processed. And that if there is a dangerous person, we call 911. And that's kind of the escalation of what I've heard here today. Because I feel like everybody deserves to be safe, and we should know what those steps are. So I just want to make sure that that's a clarity that we have, because it's not okay to not feel safe in your own community. So did I miss anything? I just want to make sure that, okay, because it is important that everyone feels safe here and that we have that ability.
Ruth, please add what you want to add.
The one thing I wanted to respond to this woman here, Senate Bill 1100 is what our governor put into place January of this year, January 23. And Senate Bill 1100, just look it up, the summary, and it does protect us against the kind of thing that happened September 26th at the board. And it is true that hate speech is protected, but disruptive speech is not. And so it's just what words you use. It's disruptive to the meeting. And the other thing that was brought up about jurisdiction, it's very clear in the agenda that you cannot speak about issues that are not on the jurisdiction of the board, such things as Israel, the Anti-Defamation League. I sent the board a letter listing 12 things that those gentlemen said that were obviously not within the jurisdiction. So I think it can be cut off on that basis as well. But I think we do have our governor to thank for putting that into place.
I really feel strongly that the default should not be towards white supremacy. Because that's what the default was, protect them. That's what it defaulted down to. That was the act, you know. At the end of the meeting, that's what happened. The white supremacist peace was protected. The Jewish citizens' trauma that they've suffered since World War II and generational trauma was not, and that was a serious threat. That I know a lot of people in the county that I know had some serious trouble after that. Trouble thinking, trouble going about their normal daily activities. So I would just hope that our sheriff and our board of supervisors, when it comes down to the decision, that you err on the side of protecting your citizen versus protecting your white supremacist citizens who are spewing hate. You have a choice. You're going to protect someone hurting somebody, or you're going to protect the people that are being hurt. That was the decision.
Really a crime being committed, absolutely. It's where does it cross over into a criminal offense versus just speech, right? Or threats? Where does a threat become something serious as opposed to what people communicate all? And we could have a whole evening of this, so, but I would ask Deputy Bear if there's something you could give us as kind of a summary of that was summarized by Kathy in terms of the things that we look at. Like it's like a run, hide, fight, right? Those are the things that I remember because those are the typical responses for that kind of a situation where you have an active shooter. What are the typical responses when you see or feel threatened by someone in the community?
Correct. Yeah, we teach the run, hide, fight method.
Yep.
More tools. It used to be back in the day that it was just locked down, and that was it, lockdown. We expanded it to give you more options of running, hiding, and fighting because of more options. If you have the choice to run, we suggest to run because you're away from the area, you're away from the threat. If you decide to hide, you don't really change that geographic distance from that person actually trying to hurt you. So if you do hide very well, lock doors, barricade doors with tables and chairs, hide very well so it takes them more time to get in there. And then last option is to fight, and that pretty much just builds more time. Most of these incidents are over in 10 minutes, so we really preach that do everything you can, the run, hide, fight in that 10 minutes to increase your survival and the survival of others. We will be coming. As soon as law enforcement gets that call, everybody in the world is going to send to that area. And for law enforcement wise, our main goal is to take out the person actually hurting people. And then fire departments, they will come in, they'll help us with medical stuff, help give medical aid to people. But yeah, we do preach the run, hide, fight method. And like I said, do everything you can that short period of time until law enforcement shows up to neutralize that threat.
It's a tough situation and everything is dynamic. It's all happening so fast. So
it's kind of hard too. I can't say to do this every time because there's a human element to it. It could be one person.
Right.
For side of school, it's easier to understand that way. It could be a student, former student, teacher, staff. It could be one person, two people happening on this side of the campus, other side of the campus. So pretty much, it's pretty much preaching personal survivability to increase your chance of survival and others around you.
okay, I think we need to move on since we have two other presentations, but thank you for your active conversation on this topic. So thanks again, Deputy Bear, for your participation. And if you can send us some more information we can put in the minutes, that'd be great. So at this point, I'd like to introduce Teresa Correia. Correia? I'm trying to remember how to pronounce it. Correia. And Claire Purtich, who will be talking to us about the Friends of the Library and the fundraising activities that are going on, their annual work, and maybe a little bit about some future plans. So please. And let's make sure you get a microphone here. Oh, is that what we got up? Okay.
Yeah, this one's good to go.
Probably up there. Yeah. Okay.
This is just for the Zoom. It doesn't
Okay, so. For Claire?
Hi, I'm Teresa Correia, President of the Friends of the El Dorado Hills Library, and we do thank you very much, both of us, for allowing us to come here and share the things that we do for the library and the community. And with that.
Claire's on, huh?
Chelsea loves doing public speaking.
Just, let me just say next or whatever. Ready for next?
Give Claire the microphone.
This one is not.
A lot of people ask us the same question, what are the Friends of the Library? So resolve that, we are the fundraising arm of the library. We are a separate 501c3 organization, and to probably many people's shock, 50% of the money that's used to buy books for our library is provided by the funds that the Friends raise. And we also provide 100% of the funding for the educational programs that go on at the library. And just as an example, last year we gave over $44,000 to support different activities at the library. Next, please. So where do these funds come from? Well, you're helping us get some of them. They come from our used book sales that we have 8 times a year. We have, we call them the honor books, the lobby book sales. We have Amazon sales. We have our memberships. And of course, we have the annual campaign, which is near and dear to my heart because I'm the chair of it this year. And we also have grants and corporate donations as well as other fundraising events. So next, please. So we have different levels of membership. This year we introduced supporter and patron to maybe make it an easier transition to move up in support without having to go to lifetime membership, but we encourage lifetime memberships because we try to do a lot of special things for our lifetime members. And you get your name in the lobby on a plaque. Next one, please. So what do we do with these funds? As I mentioned, we have 50% of the new books is for all areas and all media come from funds that we donate. Also for specialized books like graphic books and novels, excuse me, I showed my age of myself there. Large print and audio, and also all the monthly children's and teen book clubs and different educational opportunities that we have. And also our reading program in the summer, maybe some of you participated, it's for different levels. And Yale is our Youth Executive Library League, which encourages youth to develop their leadership skills. My favorite one was they put on a golf tournament inside the library for younger kids. And if any of you have children or grandchildren or just been wandering around in the children's section, you'll notice the Early Literacy Play Center, and we paid for all of that, which was a build out. It was the different projects that are in that and things like that. Next one, please. So this is just an example of that. This is one of the most popular parts in the Early Learning Center is the dinosaur section. And I'm always amazed how when I engage a child and their parent, how many of them know all the names, the scientific names for the dinosaurs. So we're doing something in our community for that kind of knowledge. Next, please. And another thing we had is that we have lots of Halloween activities. So this just shows how many different ages and creatures we attract to these things. And then the next one, please. And then this was part of all the summer programs. I don't know if you're aware, but the library does a fantastic job of finding really interesting speakers to engage children and their parents and grandparents or whoever brings them. And so this was Jordan, the science wizard, and this was a very happy mother and daughter that got to go to that. And they were everybody was transfixed. Adults, there was nobody blasé in the house. Next one, please. So why do we need additional money? Why are we raising money for the library? That's because, one, the user demand for library resources exceeds the funds that are allocated. Every year, we're getting more homes in the area, and that obviously generates more users. And we also want to be able to provide funds for special projects that aren't budgeted within the county. Next one, please. And one of our big things we did this year is we decided to got the opportunity to partner with another one of our nonprofits. And we partnered with not only the library, but with the El Dorado Hills Fine Art Festival. And we put on our first annual Fine Art Festival in El Dorado Hills, which was on the grounds of the library as well as part of the community room. Did anybody have a chance to go to that? Yay!
It was a great event. I enjoyed every minute of it.
Thank you. We like to hear that. So our goal to do this was we wanted to highlight fine art in El Dorado Hills. It's pretty amazing how many artists we do have. And we also wanted to encourage the community that maybe thinks everything can be done on Amazon to come to the library and see what else we have to offer. And everybody had different responsibilities, so we did a lot of the PR for it. And then that special lifetime member group, we had a special lobby party for them, and we invited a couple of the artists to speak about their process, their life as an artist, as well as another artist donated a beautiful wooden sculpture that one of our people won. Next one, please. So, again, as your chair of the annual campaign, I just want to bring to everyone's attention, both here and out in the wide world, that our campaign started November 1st and it goes through December 31st. We try to make it really easy to give us money, so you can donate online, and obviously you can send it in to us. A little enticement is donors who donate $75 or more. We have a plush Friends of the Library Stadium blanket. Of course, it has our logo on it, but we thought it'd be really nice to go to CSD and other things. You can kind of flash it, and also keep it well. And then, of course, donors of $250 become lifetime members automatically. And we're really proud and happy that the Serrano Men's Book Club loves us, and they're again allowing to generously match up to $10,000 this year. And they had a real pivot moment over the last 15 years. They've now, as of last month, they've given over $100,000 for the library. And one of their pet things is, of course, the 3D printer lab. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, do. And because of this match, even I can do the math. If you give $100, it automatically becomes $200. If you give $500, it could be $1,000. Okay, next one, please. And just some fun facts. Did you want to say anything about the fun fact? Okay. So, meeting of the plan of the different Friends of the Library. Our library is the most used library. Last year we had, as you can see, 223,568 people come in, which is a 19.4. Oh, did I say wrong? Okay, people counter. Okay, that's a 19.4% increase over the previous year. Look at how many hours we have in volunteers. The person who runs a used bookstore, she basically qualifies like a full-time employee, how many hours she gives in. And our 3D printer lab, if you were in the library, you noticed there was a little contest about who did the nicest painting of a 3D printed face. And 900 people voted online. So that says we're reaching out to the public and they're appreciating us. Next one, please. So we always, we live in the present, but we also like to dream about the future. And one of our dreams is to have a library annex, which would be in the parcel of land that's, what is that, be kind of like perpendicular to where our current library is. And why we're dreaming this dream is because we just don't have enough room for all the good stuff that our community wants. We need room for more books, more programs, a bigger 3D printer lab, a maker space, and we also need a real community gathering place. We envision, in a perfect world, we envision a hall that might hold as many as 250 people. Think what we could do with that. Speakers, artists, all things like that. So we hope that's possible. And then the maker space, as you're seeing, the 3D printer lab is always extremely popular, but there's so many more things we can do. Expand it, more computer work, arts, crafts. I don't know if you know, there's now a crochet class at the library. Not the height, but a little side benefit for us is some room more for our book sales and our storage, because one of our biggest fundraisers is the books. Next slide, please. So how can you help? Donate to this year's campaign. Become a member at any level. Encourage others to donate. Purchase books at our used book sales. Donate books for our used book sales, and purchase books from our lobby honor book sales. Next one, please. So here's where to donate. Next, please. Thank you for this opportunity to talk. It's really greatly appreciated. Does anybody have any questions for us? No? Okay. And my
Just a
last slide.
comment. Great work.
Okay, last slide. Last slide, please. And we want to hope to see you at the library soon. And this beautiful watercolor was done by a graphic artist who's working on the campaign with us. And we're giving away the original of that at our lobby party for lifetime members in January. So a further incentive to become a lifetime member. We thank you very much for this opportunity to talk to you.
Let me make one more comment if I could.
Of course.
In addition to serving here, I also represent a nonprofit called the Concerned Residents of Heritage Village, representing the largest group of senior citizens or community here. We'd like to become a sponsor with you.
I would like to talk to you. Thank you.
Can I comment also?
Yes, please.
I'd just like to say thank you so much for the work that you do. Of all the government programs, we were reported last month that the library is the most used government
Yes.
service in all of El Dorado County. It is also not fully funded by county government. Our libraries are only partially funded with local taxes that come in and the fundraising that you do. So thank you so hard for working and bringing all these amazing services to the community. We certainly appreciate the work that you do.
And we do it from the heart, very seriously. Okay. Thank you.
Only
very
place
much.
for it to come from, right? Otherwise, it's too difficult, but thank you for your accomplishments.
On over to the Assistance League now.
Yes, yeah, so with that, I'd like to introduce Bonni Bergstrom, President of the Assistance League, who's going to discuss their yearly Homes for the Holidays tour.
Yes, hi, I'm Bonni Bergstrom, and I'm the president of the Assistance League of Sierra Hills chapter. Now, why are we holding this Homes for the Holiday tour? We are raising money for our 5 philanthropic programs. So the tickets are on sale now. Judy Gann, who's going to be our president next year, is handing out a little postcard, and there's a QR code on the back if you'd like to buy tickets. They're $40 for adults, $10 for kids, but it's really fun to go inside other people's houses and see how they decorated for the holidays and for Christmas. So you get to be live vicariously and not have to decorate your own house and go look at somebody else's. So we've got these gorgeous homes. There's 5 of them. This year, they're all in El Dorado Hills. And this is the first time we've been able to do this in 4 years because of COVID. So the public demanded it, and we brought this fundraiser back. Let's see, it's going to be December 2nd and 3rd, Saturday and Sunday, 10 to 4 on Saturday, and 11 to 5, sorry, it'll kill me, 11 to 4 on Sunday. And we also are having a raffle for beautifully themed baskets of goodies. There's other shopping opportunities because we're going to have artists and crafters that are local. And we also have a mystery writer who has her latest book on sale. She's going to be there. We're also asking visitors to look for Elfie, or Elf on a Shelf. He's going to be, he or she, I'm not sure which, is going to be hidden at each house, and the kids as well as the adults have an opportunity to search for them and get your ticket stamped once you find them in every house, and then you're entered in a drawing for a prize. So I just want to talk for a couple about the 5 philanthropic programs. Our signature program is Operation School Bell. Operation School Bell is a program where we clothe kids in financial need all through El Dorado County, the Western Slope, as well as all the way up to South Lake Tahoe. And it's a lot of work, but we love doing it. The Western Slope, we go into Walmart and we give a voucher to school kids of all ages. They have an opportunity to shop with their parents, and we pay for the clothes. And you should see some of the looks on the kids' faces, because getting new school clothes, if you think back when you were a kid, it really does make you feel good and gives you sort of a certain level of confidence when you go to school that first day. Another program, we have a program we handed out. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to backtrack. We've clothed this year 1,000, just under 1,000 kids in need. We're here in El Dorado Hills, and it's a very wealthy community, but the rest of our county, in certain pockets here and there is a lot of need. Okay, so I'm going to talk about our scholarship program. We awarded $10,000 in 2022 and hope to do the same this year. One of our scholarships is for community service. So we're looking for kids that have given back to the community. And then we have advantage scholarships for people who've overcome difficulties, whether it's physical or perhaps they came from a home where there was drug abuse of the parents. So they write essays and submit their applications. And in fact, in the last couple of years, we were able to give scholarships to 2 individuals who are going to trade school, because four-year college isn't for everybody. And trade school also gives a wonderful opportunity for young people in our community. We have another program called Books and Beyond, where volunteers go into schools weekly and work with kids of second and third graders to help them with reading comprehension. And that's a favorite program of a lot of people. We have also one program where we work with seniors, where we go into assisted living facilities and memory care facilities and do an art project, a simple craft, once a month. And it's not the idea of doing the arts and crafts as much as it's giving the seniors an opportunity to socialize and have some interaction. So that's Assistance League of Sierra Foothills. Come to our holiday home tour or our garden tour that we do in June. It's a lot of fun, but you're helping a wonderful organization to help the community. Thank you.
Cindy tells me she has all the information, so we'll get that in our minutes. So if you don't have to take copious notes, we'll get it out to you. So any questions about the Assistance League? All right, thanks again. Okay, so we're going to move on to item 5, supervisor communications, and these should go pretty quick. With respect to Central El Dorado Hills specific plan, we're currently looking at the first public meeting of the Board of Supervisors to be held here in El Dorado Hills at the Holy Trinity Church. January 29th is the date we've homed in on. So I've got to get confirmation of that, and that's subject to change as it always is, but right now that's what planning is targeting, and we're trying to make sure that the room's available for that particular time frame. So it'd be Monday, January 29th, as best we've defined it right now. Second item, the Costco.
John, before you go, do you know anything about the November 20th meeting of the CSD regarding the so-called big deal?
I do not.
Agreement that has been reached?
I do not. I know nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there is a meeting on the 20th, special meeting of the
Okay.
CSD Board of Directors. Arrangement of some sort. I know nothing more than that.
Okay. I'll look forward to finding out what that is all about. But honestly, I know nothing about it at this point. So, with respect to Costco, we still expect the full environmental impact report to be starting soon. It sounds like they're working through specific details, and the biggest issue was the ingress and egress out of the property that's on the east side of the boulevard, and DOT is telling me the majority of that flow has to come in off of Country Club, the new Country Club Drive. There'll be a right in and right out, but there won't be a stoplight, which is what they were looking for. So more to come on that. Town and Country Village. Okay, let me get through these and then we'll go back. Is that, or John, go ahead. What are you commenting on? Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to wait till you're done, but as Bob alluded, I was at the CSD Board of Directors meeting on Thursday last week, and they announced that there would be a special meeting about Central El Dorado Hills public meeting for Monday the 20th at 5:30 p.m. They expect to have the agenda out sometime tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, and Robert shared that with us. So I don't know if you heard him or not, but thank you.
Yeah, I could kind of hear him, but I didn't want to say I was at the meeting, so it is something
Okay.
they announced.
Very good. Appreciate it. It's the first time I've heard anything about it, so that's good. I hope something's happening that's worthwhile in terms of the community benefits for that project, but we'll see. Town and Country Village, full environmental impact report should have been started by now because there was an NOP on it. I know nothing about any stops or anything, so, but those are slow processes, so it'll be a while probably before we hear anything more. County strategic plan, it did get approved by the Board of Supervisors at the October 17th meeting. The primary change was in the vision statement. There were several comments made about wanting to add the words rural character and managed growth back into the vision statement. It was in there, an earlier version of the draft. It got removed, and the board said, yeah, put it back in because that's consistent with language that comes right directly from the 2004 general plan. So that's the way it was approved, with the words added, rural character and managed growth, to the vision statement. The Board of Supervisors also approved a proclamation policy on the 7th of this month. It provides clarity. Content is allowed and how future proclamations are prepared. They're primarily ceremonial, but now we have a specific identification of what is the category that's acceptable and what is not. So we'll look forward to seeing how that gets applied. But the bottom line is, if two supervisors want to bring something forward for a proclamation and it's consistent with the county's authority to do so, i.e. it's within our jurisdiction, then it can be put on the agenda. But we also recognize specific holidays. I think there were 7 of them that occur every year that will be recognized by a proclamation that is part of department matters, as I recall. And those were all well defined by the policy statement. So those changes will be occurring very quickly. The first part of next year is when I think they'll probably be implemented, but we kind of have a test tomorrow on one of the items that Supervisor Turnbull and I brought forward in terms of an endorsement for entrepreneurship week, I think it is. And so that's going to be presented, and we determined that that is appropriate because the language says, and also measures applicable there too, or something like that. So presumably it qualifies. We're testing the grounds now that we have a policy statement, so that should help. Last thing is long-range planning is now currently fully staffed and is addressing many of the delinquencies for the 2004 general plan, including the requirement to establish a scenic corridor ordinance. So the board's going to be hearing that very soon here before the end of the year. And then a comprehensive draft schedule is also going to be presented to the Board of Supervisors, will identify all of the backlogged activities for long-range planning. So we'll have more to talk about once that's finalized by the board, and we'll share with you what that prioritized list looks like. So it's a long list, but it includes things like cellular towers, communication towers, if you will, and provisions for those to be changed so that within the fall distance of a tower, there will be a setback within the fall distance. So if a tower were to go over, it would not be possible that it would damage another property owner's structures or anything else. So those are some of the provisions we're trying to put into that policy, since the counties have no authority to stop cellular towers. That's a federal communications control item. But we can establish setbacks of applicable locations for the cell towers to go. So that's kind of the activity we're trying to take on to protect adjacent neighbors' possibility of damage from a cell tower. So with that, those are the items I wanted to cover. Does anybody have any questions on those? Any comments? All right, let's move into our leadership team progress reports. And we always start with public safety. And we do have our CHP representative here, right? Yes. Andrew, please. Come up here anywhere we have a microphone. So Officer Andrew Brown is with us this evening, and he'll give us an update on what's going on from his perspective. And I know with the holidays coming, I can only guess what you're going to talk about. Things like DUIs, and be aware, right?
So, So I'm Officer Brown with the California Highway Patrol. I just want to remind everyone, drive sober and safe this holiday season. Our fatalities have anecdotally kicked up within the last couple of weeks. We've had a few more than we'd obviously like to have. A lot of them have been DUI related, but a lot of them have to do with not wearing your seatbelt. So we want to always, every single maximum enforcement period or holiday period, we always harp on wearing your seatbelts and driving sober. So just make sure and do that. I'm your local area connection to the Highway Patrol. Many people, I heard it said today, so is this a city that's such and such? El Dorado Hills is not a city. It's unincorporated El Dorado County. So the California Highway Patrol is your law enforcement agency for the roads and vehicle code related enforcement. So for any of those issues, you can contact us. You can contact me at our area office. Just Google CHP in Placerville, or and ask for Officer Andrew Brown, and I'll be your contact for traffic complaints, chronic traffic issues. But obviously, if there's an acute problem, something like there's somebody burning donuts in your cul-de-sac, somebody driving recklessly, or you're behind somebody that's possibly DUI, we want you to call 911 immediately when that's happening. And hopefully we can get an officer out there to directly address it. Some of these things are transient, they happen pretty quick and then they're gone. So we do sometimes have difficulty catching up with those people, but we do the best we can. Then I want to also mention we are doing our Toys for Tots, and I know there's a lot of El Dorado Hills Fire Department, the sheriff, everyone's doing their own toy thing. So buy like 6 toys and give 2 to every single one, because honestly, you can get some pretty screaming deals right now on Amazon, and we got Black Friday coming up. So think about those children in El Dorado County that are less fortunate than us and can truly benefit from those toys. The Chips for Kids partners with Toys for Tots in our county, and the toys that you give are staying in El Dorado County through our program. So, like I said, don't skimp. If you're giving toys to us, give them to the fire department, give them to the sheriff, give them to whoever you can that really needs them, and it helps us, if you're a supporter of law enforcement, look really good to the face of kids that might not have a very positive view of law enforcement in their lives. So we appreciate that. Thank you. Yes. So pedestrian on the freeway is something extremely unusual. It should be. Pedestrians are prohibited from walking on the freeway. It is illegal. It's an immediate hazard to motorists, and it's an immediate hazard to that pedestrian. Feel free to call 911 when you see that, or I'm going to give you our non-emergency dispatch number. It's area code 916-861-1300. Again, 916-861-1300. And feel free. Yeah, that's an emergency. That it does deserve a call. And it's funny because we see it where people see a pedestrian walking down the road and they may think somebody also grabbed that person. But they'll see a dog running down the freeway and it's like brake lights and screeching, and everyone's going to stop to save that dog. And I understand we have understanding that a dog might not be aware of the hazards and human is, but let's care for our fellow man. It's usually not a situation that person wants to be in, so we can get them resources that they need if it's necessary.
Thank you, Andrew. I'm not seeing any more questions. Anybody? Oh, we have some here.
Does the CHP enforce the noise ordinance on motorcycles, especially late at night when I hear them on El Dorado Hills Boulevard? And I know they're way over the decibel level that they're supposed to be.
So yes, there's a California Vehicle Code that prohibits modification of exhausts. There's a couple of different ones, and we do enforce that regularly, daily. I'm signing those off at my front office all the time. So yes, we do enforce that, but just like speeders, I wrote tickets yesterday, I wrote tickets today, I'm gonna write tickets tomorrow. So it's a constant thing. If people are gonna be modifying their car, typically or motorcycle, that's gonna be one of the first things that they do. So it's constant. We are constantly writing that ticket.
Ellen, we've had these car parties at the park by my house, and you guys handle them, CHP, not the sheriff?
It depends on the behavior, what's happening.
Just a gathering of people in their cars after hours, late at night.
So if it's a trespassing or ordinance issue with the park after hours park usage, it could be us or it could be the sheriff, but please call it in if it's a violation of the law. Call it in.
Yeah, I called the sheriff and they said you guys were on it, so I don't know if I should call you. And
either way,
20, 30 cars
have no doubt when you're calling, whether it's 911, a dispatcher is answering. It's not for you to worry about if it's highway patrol or sheriff. We're gonna work together.
It wasn't 911 because it wasn't like
okay.
emergency.
So either way, if you call the sheriff about it and they say, oh, this isn't ours, they're gonna route it to us, so.
Okay.
And hopefully we can respond. But for like cars in a parking lot, like at Target, it may not be a violation of the law, so we'd have to
No,
look
it's
at it.
like a residential neighborhood, like top of a hill, cars gathering late at night.
Yeah.
Making noise. Maybe we hear the same
Yeah, so it could be a park ordinance violation or something else, but,
on the street.
that's for us to figure out. But yeah, report it, if it's happening.
And so you have those here, like those sideshow things or stuff like that? or-
So we have in our Valley Division specifically, which covers from Chico to Stockton, Woodland to the Nevada border. In Valley Division, there's specific intelligence officers through our investigative services unit that many of these car clubs or meetups, they're put on the internet in a public way or through specific groups. So they track those, and when they're coming, we and the sheriff share information regarding those, and it's aggressive. The response is, it's not anecdotal. When it's coming to El Dorado County and we know about it, the response is aggressive and they don't like coming here. So if it's that kind, if it's just people from Folsom or showing up at, say, Safeway, buying a drink of iced tea and going and sitting by their car, that might not be a violation of loitering laws. So and that might be a legal behavior. So we obviously we don't want to pick on people that aren't breaking the law, but those who are specifically coming to break law and have in the past, and we have history on them, and we share that information, we're going to aggressively go after that.
Andrew, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor, would you like to report for the sheriff's office? I'm not sure if you were asked to do that or prepared. Anything else you'd like to add?
No problem. I'll add some stuff. So I don't have any numbers as I sit here today. I was at a train in Sacramento all day, and the person who was supposed to be here canceled last minute, so I don't have those statistics in front of me. However, there are some people breaking into vehicles recently. So if you have a vehicle, make sure it's locked. Parking and drive if you can. Don't leave it on the side road where it's easier for people to break into it. Especially during the holidays, some people become a little more desperate to get some money during this time. So just make sure that you keep your stuff locked, and preferably at your house, if you're allowed to, have motion sensor lights on it. If someone comes into your driveway, the motion lights can scare them off because they want to be seen on camera. Ring cameras or any surveillance systems are huge for us when we catch these people, because a lot of times they come out to different neighborhoods and they go back to Sacramento, wherever they live. Usually they're not from this area. They just go out to different areas and commit the crimes and go back to where they are. So surveillance really helps us to identify these people. So if you guys have it, that's awesome. Additional to that, the sheriff's office is doing a bunch of things when it comes down to hazard mitigation, because we have our local hazard mitigation plan that's due this next year. So we're in the process of updating it. In the next couple weeks, months, there'll probably be some invitations for public input. That's an element of the mitigation plan. It's very important because this plan identifies the hazards in our community and how we can mitigate it so that the disasters aren't as bad. We also, by having that plan, we get hazard mitigation money from FEMA, which is a lot of money that goes into programs for fire safety councils, fuel reduction for fires. Also, the new organization, the OWAPR, is a grant funded position through FEMA. So it helps the community out a lot if they have the ability to get this mitigation funds. They're very expensive, and we couldn't do it on our own, so it's nice to kind of have some assistance with that. Additional to that, for the Elder County Emergency Alerts, I want to preach that if you're not signed up for that, please sign up for it. We used to use it pretty much just for fires, but nowadays it seems like we're using it year-round, especially with the winter storms that we've had the last few years. We've been utilizing it a lot for that. The expected weather for this year is supposed to be a really wet winter, so we'll also do alerts for floods and other disasters through that emergency alerting. And some stuff's not just evacuations. We'll send out alerts for a warning to let you know that, hey, there's something bad happening in your area. You should be, keep this on your radar because you might have to evacuate. We send out evacuation orders. If you can't evacuate, we'll send out shelter-in-place orders. Or if we want you to go somewhere, get temporary refuge area, we'll send it out through that area to tell you to go somewhere because you could be in danger at your house. So it's a very useful tool. For our sheriff's office, we still go door to door and knock on everyone's door and tell them that, hey, this is happening. But if you have that alerting system, you can beat the traffic. versus waiting for a deputy to come to the door, knock on the door. You could have already hopped in your car, beat the traffic, and be out of harm's way. So we really preach signing up for that. It's a great tool. And like she said earlier, we're trying to make it better with another program that'll be coming out this next year, and it'll keep you guys more in the loop of what's happening. So Rave and Ellicott County Emergency Alerts is the same thing. We just personalized it, but pretty much it's the Rave platform. If you were in the Code Red system, it automatically puts your information over, but we recommend that if you haven't signed up for it, sign up again because it gives you a profile that you can customize. So if your phone numbers change, you can change your phone numbers. If you can move your addresses. It's just a lot easier for you to update it versus having us do it, which we can and we will, but it's nice to have your own profile. Yes.
What are the laws regarding homeless? I'm seeing an increase in them walking on Dorado Boulevard. I know in Sacramento, Gavin, you were homeless.
So homeless issues is a hot topic because they made it very difficult for us to do stuff. So that's why we have our HOT team, our homeless outreach team, because they navigate those laws that have been passed so that they so we don't get in lawsuits pretty much. Other places, there's a kind of like it used to be ambulance chasers for the paramedics. When someone get hurt, the lawyers would go there and get lawsuits against the paramedics. They do the same thing for homeless campus now, where they go on the homeless campus and they build lawsuits against whoever to make money. So like I said, we have our own HOT team to kind of level out those legislations. And there's a whole process of how to deal with them. It's a core process for a lot of stuff like evictions to even get them to move from their encampments if they're have like standing on that. So it's a whole bunch of stuff, but it is a hot topic. We're trying the best we can to limit it. I know the HOT team has made a huge difference in the amount of homeless people we've had, but some people make it very difficult because they don't want help. So it's what do we do with these people that are in our community that we're trying to give them resources and give them help, but they don't want it. So we need to find a solution for that, and it's happening everywhere.
My concern is I work with some of the homeless in Sacramento, just as far as like providing a meal or socks. My concern is that they urinate, that they do everything on the sidewalk. You know, there's a unsanitary factor involved.
Yeah, and if they're committing crimes, we will deal with that appropriately. If they're committing crimes, you know, they can be arrested and they can go through that process. Yeah, it's yeah, it's that. I mean, the sanitary, the needles, the drug paraphernalia, all that. We're concerned with all that too. That's why we're trying to limit as much as we can. It's just that with the laws are being passed, they're making it harder and harder. But we're still doing everything we can to alleviate that problem and hopefully get that person hope to get them off the street to better their lives. But it's kind of a I don't know. It's a tightrope to walk, I guess, sometimes. But we were doing everything we can on the homeless front. Yes. So we're not building a new jail. I don't know if I have much information on that because I don't work in the jail, but I know they're doing a jail extension. I think it's like a $40 million jail extension because the state and the prisons are forcing the counties to provide more resources. And currently right now it's very difficult for us to do that. So we're expanding our jail to house more people that also comply with those state regulations that they've created.
It doesn't really create any new beds. It's appropriate state required space for certain types of activities. So it is a huge expansion. There was a big article written on it. I can forward the article to you if you'd like to see that. So yeah.
I don't really know where the revenue system is coming from, but the state kind of likes unfunded mandates. So they will push these laws. You have to provide these resources, and then the counties have to deal with it. I don't know the full funding revenue where it's coming from. But there was an article that was written a month ago or so, or a few weeks ago, describing it.
On NPR, and they said something about women's because it's like for women's.
Yeah,
It expands the room for our women
requirements.
inmates.
Yeah. So I think it's $25 million was a grant the county has had for several years. And it gets to the point, if you don't use the grant, it's probably going to go away. That was part of it. And then the county had to decide to take additional funding out of general fund to fund the rest of the expansion. So I think that was another 15 million, but it's in the article. I'll forward that to you. So yeah, it was state and county money is what it comes down to. Okay, thank you for that report, and let's turn to fire.
Yes,
We're not
definitely.
having it anymore, right?
No,
It's over.
so, right, hopefully not. So no, I do want to call attention to Chief Johnson, the fire chief's in the room, and Chief Hall, Dustin Hall is the other deputy chief. We actually have 3 deputy chiefs now, but Chief Hall there in the back. So good presence from El Dorado Hills Fire. And really with the 2 of them sitting there, just recently on October 28th, we had a public grand opening of our training center. And Chief Hall was a project lead on that. And I think Chief Johnson several hours a week, if not more, on the weekends out there, making sure that project was coming across nicely. And I know I've talked about it week after week, and Chief Johnson's talked about it, but really Chief Hall there probably spent a good chunk of every single week making sure that project came off well. And what we have is an absolute state-of-the-art facility, like nothing you'll see in the nation, really for our not only our El Dorado Hills firefighters to use and to train in, but for everybody to use and train in across the county, the Sheriff's Department, our partners in the fire service, and everybody. So, and it goes back to vision of board of directors on our fire board long ago, including Supervisor Heidel, then as a board member here, to really put aside development impact fees for us to be able to do this today. So tremendous opportunity. Again, Chief Hall sitting there real quiet, did a lot of work. Chief Johnson with a lot of his vision, really a neat facility, and we definitely welcome you to drive by in the business park and take a look at it. That's one exciting piece of news. The second is Cameron Park is not going to staff their ambulance that's currently located off a country club this Friday, the 15th, correct? Wednesday, the 15th, my bad. So what we have is the El Dorado Hills Fire Department has agreed through a process to take on the assumption of that ambulance. So as part of that, we'll be staffing it at the Bass Lake Road Fire Station. So an ambulance here at Station 85, where you're at today, there'll also be an ambulance on Bass Lake Road. So there isn't a net increase in ambulances serving the county. There's just a relocation of the Cameron Park ambulance a little bit further down. Chief, you have anything you want to tie in on that conversation, or Chief Hall? It's really a great thing for us, but it's not really a service expansion per se.
Yeah, Mike, thank you. I think you hit the nail on the head. The other part that's exciting for us is we also have a new class of employee that will be staffing that ambulance ultimately. We're in the recruitment process right now. They're going through backgrounds, but we are looking at a single function type of a system, which is to simply say they're not firefighters or paramedics that will be on that unit. So that does a lot for us recruitment retention wise down the road, as well as getting the agency under that cap so that we're not augmenting that system.
Oh, perfect. And the other exciting thing I'm sorry. So either one of us can. One of the advantages is allows us to ensure that we can operate the ambulance we're allowed a maximum amount of money each year by the JPA to operate the ambulance. And so having this position, it will allow us to come in under the cap that's allowed. So there'll be no negative impact to the community as far as additional dollars outlaid. There'll be enough revenue coming in from our JPA ambulance service provider to allow us to operate that ambulance under the cap. Okay, the next thing I had is the Santa Run. So every year, one of our most exciting times is our Santa Run. And really, it's a food and a toy drive. And I think the CHP tried to steal some of our thunder, but he was nice enough to encourage you to donate to us as well. But the Santa Run is the 5th through the 8th. The routes are out, coming out on social media. Again, it's a food and a toy drive. We really encourage anyone who hasn't seen it to come out, but please come out again this year and be at the Santa stops. And we always have a new twist or a new something exciting to show you. And I'm sure we will again this year. Any other follow-up on that there, Chiefs? All right, good one. I think the last thing, I was going to talk anyways today about Alert Warning and Deputy Bear, who's now we're working together in the Sheriff's Office of Emergency Services. So the El Dorado Hills Fire Department, I talked about it before, but I'll recap it just one last time. We partnered with the El Dorado County Sheriff and the El Dorado Hills Fire Department through some of the vision of the leaders of the agencies, so Chief Johnson and Sheriff Leikauf, to put a firefighter in OES. It took support from everybody. It took support from the Board of Supervisors to allocate funding, from the fire department, from the sheriff's office. And so my role now is I'm still an EDH fire deputy chief. I still am here in town, but my day assignment is Deputy Bear and I are working together on anything related to emergency services. So that could be mitigation, response, recovery, preparedness for disasters, anything disaster related in the whole circle of that disaster life cycle. We work together on evacuation plans. We work together on large tabletop exercises, and really a unique opportunity. And I'm thankful for the opportunity to serve in that role. And we're working together now and just going to continue to accelerate what we can provide to the community in terms of disaster preparedness. With outdoor fires, with flooding events, with snow events, there's no doubt that we need the extra bandwidth and the increase in preparedness and mitigation and response. So really a great thing, and we've done some restructuring internally as a result of that, but it's really a good thing, and I'm excited for that. Which lastly brings me to the weather. You've probably seen, or maybe you haven't, that we're predicting an El Nino pattern this year. And I don't understand the weather reports because they seem to change by the hour. But when you hear about El Nino, you hear it could be, it typically is known as a warming of the surface waters in the Pacific Ocean, which could be very wet for Southern California. And we sit in the middle. So it could be really wet here. It could be really dry here. It could come south. Or, as you know, with the weather, it could change and there could be no rain at all. But what they are predicting is typically a wetter and cooler pattern, definitely in the southern part of California. It's unknown how it'll hit this kind of middle central part of California. So we would like you to get ready. We'd like you to clean out your gutters. We would like you to know that we have sandbags sitting out here at Station 85. We have them at Station 89, which is in Cameron Park. And we also have sandbags throughout the county. They're available here when there is flooding and the Sheriff's Office Emergency Services stands ahead. With that, I'd be open to any questions or any follow-up from the chief or anybody else.
Just to follow up with the chief, the new staff person that are they firefighter, paramedic, or?
Yes, great question. So our current employees are firefighter paramedics. The new employees will simply be paramedics. And so we felt that it was very important that they were included within our current rank structure. And so it's not a new program or anything like that. It's simply a different classification of employee.
I didn't understand what you meant. Ambulance is relocated at the station. Does that mean that we are now serving Cameron Park and rescue with ambulance services from El Dorado Hills?
The short answer is yes. The longer answer is that El Dorado Hills Fire, we don't have our own or staff our own ambulance. All of the 8 ambulances on the west slope are all really operated by the ambulance JPA, or El Dorado County Emergency Services Authority. So no one agency or no one fire department owns the ambulance. They all belong to the JPA. We operate them as an entire system. So regardless of where they're stationed, they respond to the entire west slope, as well as down to the Sacramento County area when they need to go, or over on the east slope when they need to go. So the short answer is yes, but we are simply paid to staff that ambulance by the JPA.
Which makes their response time longer to get to rescue in Cameron Park.
Yeah, I would say yes and no. Response times are very interesting. And so as it relates to El Dorado Hills Fire specifically, every single one of our employees that are on a fire engine or ambulance are all paramedics. And really what stops your clock, or which gets you that definitive care right away, is going to be that paramedic on a fire engine. The ambulance is really there for support and transport to the hospital. So when you talk about, is it going to be a delayed response to getting emergency care or advanced life support? No. Will it be longer potentially to get an ambulance? That's a harder question to answer, because if you say it is going to take longer, that would mean that ambulance isn't there. We just don't know if the ambulance is going to be there at any one given time. We only have 8 ambulances for the entire west slope. That's a lot of people to serve with 8 ambulances, and they're constantly moving. So there's no guarantee that ambulance is going to be in quarters. For instance, Medic 85. Oftentimes it's on an incident, and we might get Medic 89 from Cameron Park. We might get Medic 61 from Georgetown. And sometimes we even get Medic 37, Medic 35, Medic 36 from the city of Folsom. Any other questions?
You do that through mutual aid, right, for Folsom?
Oh, we do that through our automatic aid process through the city of Folsom. And we watch the numbers on a monthly basis, and they've been very, very equal. When the city of Folsom was down an ambulance, we responded more to them. When we were down Medic 49, they responded more to us. And so it's been pretty balanced.
Thanks.
You're welcome. One thought on Chief Lilienthal. I think he, as humble as he always is, he kind of glazed over a little bit, but I'm going to highlight him a little bit. So Sheriff Leikauf and we talked about how our agencies can work better, how we can continue to build a strong relationship between our organizations. And the position that Mike's in is kind of the result of those conversations. But a lot of it really, we talked a lot about Mike himself and his capabilities, his experience, and he is the perfect person for that position. It was the perfect timing for that position. And it took a lot of us with an open mind to even get to that point. You know, a lot of times when you ask, hey, can we put a firefighter in the sheriff's office? They would look at you kind of crazy and say, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. But I credit Sheriff Leikauf for having, and his entire team for having an open mind to doing something like that, really in the spirit of making our entire county more prepared. And then I also have to give kudos to the Board of Supervisors, who also early on came on board with the concept and worked really, really hard to get it, along with Lieutenant Morton, to get it across the finish line. So Mike's going to do a great job, still part of the fire department, still on our command team here. But his role is going to be coordinating the fire services in a much better fashion and liaisoning with the sheriff's department, which is going to be a phenomenal, phenomenal relationship. I think we've already seen some of the fruits of those labors. This is really forward thinking. This entire county, the sheriff's department, certainly the fire department, the Board of Supervisors, and our citizens, we should be very, very proud with this relationship, and I can't wait to see what else you do. Thank you.
I want to mention the discussion about Cameron Park Fire Service, because that's the next thing that's probably going to be in the newspapers and stuff, just to give the public here a heads up.
I was just walking off the line.
Yeah, well, you don't have to if you don't want to,
No,
but
it's
more to
perfectly
come from
fine.
Cameron Park, right?
It's perfectly fine. A number of months ago, we were approached by the Cameron Park Fire Department with respect to fire services in the community of Cameron Park. They're experiencing some financial difficulties as it relates to their contract they have with their current provider. The costs have gone up, and they're having some challenges moving forward. So what that looks like for us is ourselves and El Dorado County Fire, we were asked to participate in the process by which a third party would evaluate both organizations for potentially annexing Cameron Park, and a decision will be made, at least a recommendation will be made, and we'll have an opportunity, our community will have an opportunity to see if that's in our best interest. I can tell you on the outset, the sustainability of any fire agency around us is very important. And the reason why that's important is if that fire station is not there, if that fire engine is not there, that means one of the fire engines from our Corps is going to cover that area. So we're impacted anyways. So that's why we're looking at that. I don't know what it looks like just yet. We're going through that process to get all the information into the consultants. There's no negotiations. There's nothing imminent. There's no annexation process or anything at all like that right now. But to Supervisor Heidal's point, we are simply looking at that as an option down the road. I will tell you that our organization believes in, I certainly believe in, the regional approach to providing fire and life safety is a better approach. When you have one coordinated effort to provide those services, it makes you more efficient and makes your depth of services a little bit deeper and better for the citizens. So that's why we're looking at it.
If you were to consider the budget proposal, that whatever the season is for that, if you were to justify another firehouse or even just an engine and a crew, approximately how much would that be?
Yeah, so roughly our cost for a fully staffed so I almost said 3-0. 3-0 is 3 firefighters, a captain, an engineer, and a firefighter. Our cost personnel only are roughly $2.3 million for a fire station. And that's the standard that we use is a 3-0 staffing model. So as we look at what their budget is, and that's all part of our process and doing our due diligence, you know, what is their budget? What are their expenses? What would that look like for us? What are the value to us that we can't really put a number to? We're going to look at all of those types of things.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Lauren, let's ask you to go next. You may have school things you have to take care of tomorrow, right?
Okay, so starting off with the Youth Commission, we recently had our annual Shadow Day, which is when we go to the Board of Supervisors meeting and we get to sit behind kind of with the Board of Supervisors and get to kind of see a regular meeting and kind of observe. It's really a great opportunity for the youth on the Youth Commission to be able to see how local government works, to watch the process of the Board of Supervisors meeting, and just kind of to just see the behind the scenes of local government. And then also we're really developing really quickly our peer-to-peer advocacy program. Essentially, it's a program where we're going to be training upperclassmen mentors on high school campuses to be able to help support freshmen transition into high school. I think 5 high school campuses are currently kind of working on developing that process. Oak Ridge High School is one of them. I think Ponderosa is kind of the most ahead. I think they've already developed a class to be able to help train those peer mentors. But Oak Ridge High School we've been meeting with administration, and so we're kind of progressing smoothly on that front. And then at Oak Ridge High School, we have Spirit of Giving Week this week. Basically, in the month of November, we choose one week and we choose one organization or cause that we in leadership feel is really important to our school community. And so this Spirit of Giving Week, we're going to be supporting Aspire Kids. And the way that we're going to be doing that is we're going to be doing money collections during drop-off in the mornings, and we'll also be collecting donations in the front office. We're also collecting clothing donations. So Aspire Kids is really focused on removing barriers and building resistance by providing access to normalcy for youth that have experienced trauma or live in low-income circumstances. So we'll be collecting dress clothes to help support students who want to attend dances at their school, and also athletic clothes for students who want to participate in sports. Basically, Aspire Kids is really all about removing those barriers that prevent kids from doing things that normal kids want to do. And so we'll be doing that. And essentially, I think the last thing that I wanted to say was that we're going into kind of the finals week. And just as a reminder for people who are parents or grandkids or anything like that, just remember that these can be really stressful times for students. We have our wellness centers on campus, but truly it's really hard to determine, who is struggling, who's not struggling. And so please support your kids, support the members of your community, and just look out for our future generation.
Kathy, you want to go next? You want to go last then? You want to go last?
We're going, vote Lauren, vote Lauren.
The work you do is very related, but go ahead.
Actually, it was a perfect lead to what I wanted to talk about tonight. So as Lauren had talked about Aspire Kids, and there are many kids in our community that have experienced trauma, folks that have had generational trauma, kids that are in situations where they're not feeling successful. And to that end, back in 2019, our Board of Supervisors approved what is called the El Dorado County Commission for Youth and Families. And the Commission for Youth and Families is actually unique to El Dorado County. There's not any other county in the state that has one. And it was created because our community members got together and said, hey, what happens when kids are really struggling? What if they're coming in and out of homelessness? What if they're in probation? What if they are in foster care? And if you can imagine one kid who has many different case managers, right? Somebody who's trying to help them with Health and Human Services, somebody who's with education, someone's with probation. And the ability of those team members to really talk to each other and figure out what's happening is really challenging in order to have that information. And what the Youth and Families Commission is doing is trying to get together with all the departments and all the stakeholders in the county to improve the systems for kids so that their outcomes are better, so that education disruptions, if you can imagine a kid that goes from foster care to foster care, they change schools, they have different teachers, et cetera. So today, and this is the reason I thought I would share it, today there was a strategic planning meeting with stakeholders in the community. The Commission for Youth and Families is actually board appointed. It is housed under our chief administrative offices, and the commissioners, one of which is a partner to or a spouse to one of our members here today, Commissioner Bladen, along with our chief probation officer, our superintendent of schools, Wendy Thomas from the Board of Supervisors, and our Health and Human Services and 5 community members get together today and convened a large group of people, 50 group of folks. We had the sheriff there today. We had city police. We had representatives from our nonprofits, from education, and they all sat in the room and talked today, and I wanted to read it to you, is that we will commit to working together to establish an integrated, transparent, and data-driven system of services so the burden of navigating across partners is on the system itself rather than on the young people and their families. So our goal is to start working better as a community, as a county, as our services, so that we don't have the burden of accessing services on our families and our kids. The meeting was exceptional today. We talked about 5 priorities. The first priority is to make sure that we have an array of high quality services over time. We need to ensure that we are effectively communicating between the community and their partners. We need to ensure the navigational burden is shifted from families to the system. We need to report the impact of youth families, and we need to evolve the commission's operations over time. Since this is a community-based or locally based commission, in order to work, we need to build our capacity to support children and families of our youth to be successful and to start early and to be able to provide them or have someone walk with them to make sure that they have access to services to be successful. The meeting was exceptional. The priorities and such are on Legistar. They'll be posted up, which is our county board site. And our final strategic planning meeting will be held on December 15th. It's off of Durock Road, which is our probation training office. And at that last meeting, we'll be developing or finalizing our strategic implementation plan so that we can really roll up our sleeves and do a better job for our children and families. So it's pretty darn exciting when you see the community come together and go, hey, we've got a problem and we need to fix it. And to see the leadership in action from our highest public servants to say, yes, it's important, is really kind of heartwarming. So very excited to report the progress, and I'll make sure that we bring back the strategic plan through your office and through the notes, Cindy, that we can put on the website. So thank you.
Excellent. Yep, thank you. Any questions for Kathy? Okay, Brandon, why don't you come up and give us a report on what's going on with the Planning Commission? Because I know we're talking car washes and other stuff. Really important, right? Infrastructure that's being facilitated in El Dorado Hills, so that's the primary subject.
Hi, I'm Brandon. I think this is the first time I've been here in person. I started a couple months back. There hasn't been a lot of action in our district for the Planning Commission, but this past week we approved a car wash up at the Sienna Ridge Shopping Center. Pretty much went through as planned. We added a couple extra requirements on the applicant to do some additional sound monitoring and testing before they get their final use permit, final occupancy permit, to make sure that the 10 homes that were immediately across the street were kind of taken care of. It's kind of it. We have our next meeting's canceled for the holidays, and then there's going to be a few things stacking up on December 14th. I have not seen what those things are yet, but apparently there's a few items that were continued, or I think even went to Board of Supervisors and are coming back, but need to get done by the end of the year. So I don't know what they are yet, but
You'll find out.
We'll find out soon enough. And that's pretty much it.
Very good. Thank you for that report, Brandon. Appreciate it. Okay, Robert, you want to go next? You got kind of two to cover, I think.
Well, actually, John Davies
John's
is still
here?
online, so let's
Let's let John cover APAC. Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm about 2 minutes from bailing out. I have a board meeting here at 7. So, our November meeting was supposed to be last Wednesday, and we canceled it. There were no meaningful updates that were appropriate to, get everybody out of their houses to come to a public meeting and discuss. We have been working with our transportation subcommittee and our environmental subcommittee on working on some presentations of how they're reviewing some of the transportation elements and environmental elements, how it impacts us here in El Dorado Hills. So we're looking forward to possibly having that discussion in December at our December meeting on the 13th. We also have a message from the County Department of Transportation. They'd like to come and talk about a couple of road projects in El Dorado Hills. So that's very good timing, since our transportation subcommittee will be making their presentation as well. And we were extending an invitation to them anyway, so they can hear that discussion was all about. I did want to mention a couple things that, since we're not having our meeting this month, that the El Dorado Hills CSD had at their board meeting last Thursday approved 2 projects that will be developing in our community. And those are 2 bike parks. One of them will be in the utility quarter that's directly to the west of Stephen Harris Park across El Dorado Hills Boulevard, heading west towards the county line. And the other bicycle park will be along Bass Lake Road next to Station 86. So kudos to the CSD for utilizing that utility quarter, which is, they had some property in there. It's hard to get something in there that you can program and not impact the setbacks for the utility element of that corridor for PG&E and for SMUD. So those projects are coming up. And then primarily, we'll be having our officer election in our December meeting. We'll be announcing the results for our 2024 APAC officers. So, and if there's more to chat over, I'm sure Bob can address that. And that's it for me tonight. And everyone have a good evening.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
Well, I'll just dovetail what John just said. Much of the activity that we're involved in District 2 right now deals with transportation issues and environmental issues. And so we're working very close alignment with the APAC. There's a number of, they well know, a number of planned developments, residential and industrial, down south of Highway 50, that will, to my mind, have the potential dramatically impacting the residents down there and also the businesses down there. And so we're working in cooperation with one another. We're trying to ferret out reasonable answers, and we're working hopefully with closer alliance with planning. Certainly with transportation we are. And so that's all. We're obviously aware of the concern the Heritage residents have with the $7 million bond issue that was approved October 10th, that will increase our Melrose by 24% next year. An appeal has been made. We're hoping to have the county supervisors take another look based upon new information. So stay tuned on that one. I think we're all working in good faith to see if we can work this thing out and not create a undue burden to the senior community of Heritage as a result of that. Then the final thing is congratulations on that. Everybody down there south of the freeway are just very proud and very supportive of what you folks have done there. Having strapped on that equipment and having gone through smoke-filled buildings, I can assure you that what you've done here is going to save lives. And thank you very much for being the best in terms of creating an environment that everybody throughout the country will take a look at with great pride. So thanks again.
I'll just comment on that. It was intended to be a regional facility. We're getting contacted by people throughout the state of California. It may go beyond that at this point. So there's a lot of interest in using our facility because of its unique capabilities. So kudos to the fire department again. So I appreciate that. Let's go then to anything that you might have on good governance, Richard.
I defer back to you on
Okay.
the point of the CAO,
Right.
please.
So we are making changes at the county continually, so I did want to share with you some of those recent changes. In the CAO's office, Chief Administrative Office, we've added couple new personnel. So Tiffany Schmidt is our Chief Administrative Officer. She leads the whole organization. She has 2 assistants. This is going to start sounding like fire department ranks. 2 assistant Chief Administrator Officers. Laura Schwartz, who's been very involved for years, and she's worked typically a lot of the facilities activities, very, very knowledgeable, very helpful. And Sue Henneke, who's worked on a lot of the fire-related services, the CSAs. So those are Tiffany's 2 assistant chiefs. And then we've added a new position that's a Deputy Chief Administrative Officer, and Carla Haas, who was our Manager of Communications, is fulfilling that role. So she has some dual responsibilities. I'm going to share with you what we were told. Carla will continue in her role as communications director rather than manager, and will take on the added role of emergency liaison officer. So she's going to be working directly with OES, you 2 gentlemen, as well as with the CEO's office, and I think it's just a great match to bring her into that role. And Carla's been very valuable over the past with her experience, particularly the events that happened with OES with the Caldor fire and everything else. There was some real bonding and partnerships that were created through all of that. So that's all good. And then the other Deputy Chief Administrator Officer is Jennifer Franich, and she's been with the organization a long time as well. So we've staffed up. We have now the ability to take on some more responsibilities, because what we're seeing is in some of the areas like health and human services, we want to find a better home for some of the the responsibilities they have, and it seems like the CEO's office may be a place for that to fit better. So we're always looking at where's the best fit for services so that people have a recognition of where to go to ask for about the services, but also that there's some synergy, some relationships that are already bonded there, as opposed to having for instance, Health and Human Services had the Veterans Affairs Commission in it. And it sounds like there's kind of a link there, but maybe not so much. And so there's other things that we're looking at. Our EDOC COC, the Continuum of Care, El Dorado Opportunity Knox, which is our homeless organization. We're looking for kind of a new fit with that. So a lot of things are changing. I just wanted to make you aware of that in terms of good governance. And with that, I'm going to let Cindy go ahead and give you the inputs on the information and outreach things, and then I'll cover the economic development real quickly.
Okay, well, the holidays are here. Unbelievable. It's coming so quick. Starting December 1st through December 24th, they're going to be doing the photos with Santa at the California Welcome Center. That's every day from 4 to 7. On December 2nd, they're going to have the 17th annual Christmas tree lighting at the El Dorado Hills Town Center Plaza. It's from 4 to 8. They start at 4. There's a popular stuff your stocking game for kids, so the kids all get little stockings and they can go to all the different participating businesses and fill their stockings with little treats. So it's neat for the kids to do that, and then the parents can see all the cool businesses we have downtown center. And then Holy Trinity Choir is going to be there singing holiday songs. They're going to have a live band, and then Santa comes. And about 6:30 they do the big Christmas tree lighting. So it's a really fun event that we do every year in Town Center. And then also December 2nd, the CSD is doing a breakfast with Santa with 2 different seating times at 8 o'clock and at 10 o'clock in the morning at the CSD gym. It has breakfast and they visit with Santa and they do a holiday craft. If it's something you're interested in, I would do it soon. Because the Cookies with Santa event is already sold out, which I was surprised to see because I hadn't seen that before in years past. But we get a lot more people living here, so I guess things sell out. But anyway,
good for them. Yeah, absolutely. Tis the season. So with that, I'm going to cover economic development quickly. We're still restructuring the CDAC committee, Community and Economic Development Advisory Committee. George Turnbull and I sit as the ad hoc members. We just received a set of draft bylaws that we're reviewing now to determine if it's consistent with the information and direction we provided to CDAC. So I'm guessing at their next meeting in November that will tend to gel, and we'll be able to share with you more information on what those set of bylaws look like, because the focus now is more on what is it that the county is defined as part of the economic development strategic plan, and how do we make sure that where staff has need for help in getting information out, collecting information, the outreach part of it and stuff, that CDAC is fulfilling that role. So we've never had that level of integration and coordination yet with CDAC. So that's part of what the bylaws are changing. It also changes representation to focus on a lot of the key areas we have. For instance, broadband, and bringing broadband to the county is huge. So we want to make sure that's part of that particular activity. Biomass facilities is another big part of it. Our wine industry, we need to make sure they're represented. Agriculture in general is represented, whether it's apples or wineries. And so we're trying to change the mix that we have. There will probably be an appointed member for each of the 5 districts and then several at-large members. Right now it's proposed as 6 at-large members for a total of 11 members. But we have to make sure it represents the right groups. And then where we have special interest groups, such as the realtors and that sort of thing, we'll probably bring them in for specific information exchange, but they wouldn't be voting members. So we're still trying to sort through all that. What are the highest level of importance we have for inputs, recognizing you can't have committees with 25 people on them. They don't get anything done. So 11 is kind of the extreme I've seen. So we're trying to keep it at 11 or less, but pick the right people and then have groups come in and make their presentations, recommendations, et cetera, and see where that fit is within our strategic plan. So more to come on that. So any go backs from anybody, anything to kind of follow up? Seeing none, I just want to announce that our next meeting is Monday, December the 4th, back here. And we're not going to have a guest speaker next month. We're going to give you everybody a break. So the meeting will run much quicker and we can go off and do our holiday shopping or whatever after that. And with that, I want to thank you for your patience and your attendance, and this meeting is adjourned. So I think we made it before 7 o'clock, 6:55. And I got to go back, grab Pat's book, so.